Guys and girls, today we're gonna teach you football skills that not only look extremely cool, but can also, in some situations, get you out of a little bit of a sticky situation with a lot of defenders around you. So you can just go learn, enjoy. First up is the Neymar Rocket, which I think you might have seen before. It's essentially a variation of the classic rainbow, but here instead you use both feet to kind of throw the ball over your head in a rainbow-like motion. Now the thing is that it might be a little bit difficult to land when you start doing it, but once you understand the right motion you have to do with your feet and your body, it can be pretty useful if you're stuck in a corner with some defenders around you, and the only way to get out is to go over them. Now, the thing that helped me in landing this trick was to use my right foot to kind of guide the ball, get it over my head, and then to lock the ball against my right foot by pressing my left foot in against the ball, locking it in place. Then you basically just have to do the jump and remember to lean forward to make sure that the ball goes up and over you instead of just straight up into the air. Because if it does, it's basically just a flick up. Next up, I have a trick that we can call the scoop rainbow, and yeah, it's a pretty risky move, but again, if you're stuck in a corner, defenders behind you, and the only way out is to pull a Hail Mary, you can do the scoop rainbow, take it over your own and their heads, and get out that way. Now, it's basically a very easy scoop motion over your head, so you have to take your scooping foot, put your toes very far underneath the ball. You have to touch the ball as far in as you can basically go without pushing it. Then you initiate the scoop by stepping forward with your weak foot, and you just lift the ball up with that one smooth, fluid, scooping rainbow motion. All you have to do then is to lean a little bit back with your upper body to help the ball go in that direction. Think of it as if you have a shovel, you want to shovel some dirt, because I guess everyone can relate to that, right? Anyways, have a shovel, throw some dirt. It's that motion right there that you want to do. Now, I mentioned how the Neymar Rocket is essentially a variation of the classic rainbow flick. So of course, we're also going to take a look at the standard rainbow flick, or the Chapeo, as it's called if you're in Brazil. Now, it can be done in a lot of different ways, but the way I do it, when I do it, because I totally do it all the time, but the way I would do it is I would take my weak foot, step in front of the ball with my heel pointing towards the ball. Then I would use the instep of my strong foot to lock the ball against my weak foot. I would roll the ball a little bit up my weak foot with the strong foot, do a jump, and push the heel of my weak foot into the air. Of course, I also have to remember to lean to make sure that the ball, as you saw, just goes right up into the air, but actually goes over me. So if you get the right combination of locking, lifting, and leaning, combined with a little bit of speed, there's a very good chance you'll now have landed the rainbow flick or the Chapeo, depending on where you're watching.
And to celebrate that success, let's reward ourselves with a few slightly more difficult moves. In fact, they're so difficult that I can't do them yet.
One of the feints that I enjoy to use that's very specific is the Burber Spin. And it's really efficient if I'm on the left, I'm getting a pass that's slightly too long for me running towards the sideline. And what I do then is that I pull out the Burber Spin, which looks like that. So essentially, it works really well because I'm not only closing down the ball and preventing it from going out of play, but the second that I stop the ball with the inside of my foot, Lag is gonna think, okay, this guy's stopping. She's gonna slow down to not just knock me over and make a free kick. So she's gonna slow down as well, go down in her knees. And that means that I have the initiative, right? So when I come here, I step on the ball, turn my body, and then I continue the spinning motion that I've already started. And then I lift the ball away, and I'm basically out of the move. So it might look a little bit difficult and technical, but actually what you're doing is just you're running to the ball, you're stopping it, tapping it out. It's just a super easy flap, flap, then you move on. So boom, 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 and you can keep running. Now the next skill is something we can call the soul roll snap, I guess. Michael wanted to call it the
Snapping turtle.
snapping turtle. I guess we can call it that as well. Snapping Turtle 3000, that's the name. But basically what you do here is, again, like Michael said, trying to deceive the defender to go one direction and then move the other is what you want to do here. So if you're running up the flank, the defender is right in front of you to the side, you come in here, you pretend to do a soul roll, you roll, but then as you put your plant foot down, you stop the ball with the outside of it and then use that momentum that you have to go the other direction. So something like this where you roll, snap. And you can see as you put the foot down, there's an automatic movement of the ball in the other direction. You don't really have to push the ball or like snap the ball out with your foot. You just have to basically plant your foot and the ball hitting it will take care of the rest. And as you can see, when Michael tries to follow, that soul roll indicates that I'm gonna accelerate away, which I'm not. I'm accelerating the other direction. So come up, boom, like that, and I can move it. And of course, there's one more where we try to deceive the defender into going that direction while we move in the other direction. It's basically a, I guess, spin, soul roll, inside tap, but we can call it the Spin Minator 2000. I think that's a pretty good name, yeah? So what you want to do here, if you're chasing a loose ball towards the sideline, obviously there's many things you can do, but if the defender is very close to you, you want to basically shake them off immediately so you can move in the other direction. Buy yourself a little bit of time to just look up and figure out what to do. So let's say the ball is running here, Michael's following me. I can step on the ball as if I'm just going to go that direction. So when I drag it, Michael's gonna instantly react and put his body weight in that direction, boom. But I immediately push the ball to the other side with the inside of my foot. And again, it sounds a little bit difficult to do maybe at speed, but I promise you, if you just practice it slowly, come down, and this is the move where you really need to be deceptive. That whole pull, boom. So when you put your foot down again, it's just about a matter of putting the foot down. Boom, put the foot down, like that. And the ball's automatically gonna go that direction. Doesn't have to be far because Michael is going that way. So you have the initiative. You are acting while he is reacting, okay? That's all that matters. A quick little change of direction, soul roll, and an outside tap like that. Boom, boom, and you move. The first move here is something we can call as innovative as the soul roll Panana, I guess, which is something I've seen Vinicius Jr. do quite a few times. So if you're being closed down on the sideline, you're facing away from goal, you can pull this out. So if Will is pushing me against the sideline, Phil is coming up to try and take the ball, I realize I can't go that way, so I step on the ball, and then while Will is coming in, I drag it back, and then I use the outside of my foot to go get the Panana. Of course, I also, make sure to jump out of the way unless he's gonna take me down. So the thing here that you want to look for is that not only do you have to time it right, but also you want to make it a fluid motion, a smooth motion, right? It's no good if you just step on the ball, do the soul roll, and then stop and wait. You lose your momentum. So instead, you want to step on the ball, roll it back, boom, immediately use the outside of your foot to go past Will. And of course, it requires a little bit of luck to have the defenders in the right position. But basically, when you come, you realize you can't go further, step on the ball, look up, see what's going on, boom, and you're gone. And then there's another skill with an absolutely brilliant name. We can call it the soul roll lift, which is as straightforward as it sounds. On paper, at least. Again, if you have two defenders coming at you, Will trying to push me out towards the sideline and Phil covering the long kick and run, basically. You want to make sure that you look for that angle to escape. And if Will is coming closer to me trying to take the ball, basically, I can take a little touch, I can roll the ball with my soul, and then once I spot that angle, I can just lift the ball to get over their tackling feet, jump over them, and I'm basically gone. So simple on paper, but you gotta do the right footwork. And you wanna make sure that you get that fluid motion, right? So it's not soul roll and then wait, and then try to do the lift. No, you wanna make it a fluid motion. So take the touch, soul roll, step down for balance, and then you lift, and you're gone. And they look like this, all of them. That's you. That's all you, man. If you find yourself in a situation where there are two defenders right in front of you, it might be time to whip out the croqueta stepover. And as you probably realized by now, we do great names here at Unisport. But anyways, what you want to do here is go at the first defender. Once he or she gets close and makes a move to try and take the ball, you croqueta around them. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of momentum because the second defender, their backup, is probably going to come at you as well. Now, if you are a world-class Michelin star chef, you're gonna croqueta again, but you can also just, do a 1 foot step over, throw their body weight that way while you go the other way. Now that looks pretty good, right? But the thing here is that, once you beat the first defender, he or she is of course gonna turn around and come at you again. Because being beat is not nice, right? So you wanna make sure that you don't hesitate once you face the second defender. Quick little body feint, step over, and you move out. Ideally, best case scenario, you get out in front of the first defender. Worst case, you don't. But if that happens, hopefully they're gonna take you out, okay? So momentum, momentum, momentum is the key when you have two defenders you wanna beat. They're gonna beat you.
The first skill is something we can call the super official Stepover Tappy 3000. The name's not important though. The important thing is that you create that space. And if you have the defender in front of you, you can do that by stepping over the ball with the leg in which direction you want to go. So I want to go that direction, I step over the ball with this leg from the outside. Then I use the inside of the other foot to tap the ball forward, and then I bring the step over leg back and push the ball away with the outside of the foot. Now hopefully this means that once you do the step over, you're gonna trick the defender to put all his body weight on this foot, meaning that hopefully the tappy motion can be quick enough to create a meter of space for you to do something clever with the ball. So, zack zack. And guys, creating that space is what we're after here. And thankfully you can also do that with this move called the croqueta deluxe. Chef's kiss. Anyways, what you're essentially trying to do here is to bait the defender to stick out his leg so you can croqueta around him and laugh all the way to the bank. And you can do that by tapping the ball with the inside of your foot while dropping your shoulder. And that's important. Dropping your shoulder to get him to stick out a foot, and then you basically croqueta around him. And it can be a little bit tricky to do at speed the first time. So you can break it up and focus on getting the tap, then taking a step, and then do the croqueta. And do that until you feel confident with it, and then you can basically do it at a high speed. Now guys, the third skill is one of my favorites to watch, and it's actually something Jolter has taught you in an earlier video. And it's called the double stepover, which is great because you get to wrong foot the defender not once, but twice for maximum devastation and humiliation. Now the trick here is to basically make them believe that you're making a body feint on the first stepover, and then you want them to commit because they think that you're gonna take a touch going back in that direction. However, you're not gonna take a touch. You're gonna do another stepover, twist your body, sell the move, and then make a little tap back to the original direction to laugh all the way out of the move. But guys, the key here is to sell the second stepover. You want the defender to put as much weight as possible on this foot as you do the second stepover. And you can do that by making the first stepover. When you make the second one, you twist your entire body and your head to really make them believe that you are going that direction. However, this means that once they're caught, whoop, little tap with the outside and you're gone. So at speed, it looks like this. Yes! See ya! You can also whip out the roll back flick, which is basically where you're trying to trick the defender into sticking his or her foot out so you can flick the ball over them and look like a flicking boss. That was terrible. But anyways, this is only a good idea to do if there's a bit of space in behind the defender trying to close you down. So what you do here is to try and bait them into sticking out the foot by doing a little series of sole drag backs. And once they do stick out their foot, you do a slightly more powerful drag back, and then you flick the ball up and forward with the very toe off your foot. Now the key here is to nail down that lift. It's basically just pointing your very toes a little bit upwards. So maybe start to drag the ball, flick the ball up, standing still. And once you feel you have that, you can combine it and chain it with that series of little drag backs and basically be ready to roast the defender if you're ever stuck in the corner. So this trick is flicking awesome. I did it again. And then we have one of the oldest tricks in the book, the fake shot soul roll. Now this is basically all about conviction. So you need to make the defender think that they have to block a shot or a cross. If you don't get them to do that, it's unlikely that this trick will work. So here you really have to sell the move. Basically you come in, you take a touch to either side, and then you have to drop both your shoulder and your hips and really put some energy into the motion as if you were indeed going to make a shot or a cross. But then, just before you hit the ball, you can either roll the ball out to the side with the sole for extra style points, or quite simply just take a touch away. That's all up to you, as long as you promise me that you sell the move. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So come in, out to the side, whoop, away.
So the first move is a nice one where you want to wrong foot the defender and then beam off in the other direction. We can call it the go fish, I guess. You'll understand why in a bit. But basically it works really well if you're face to face with the defender, where you can take a little touch towards them and then make a little tap touch to the side as the bait. Because hopefully they will start making a step in that direction already. And this is where you sell the move, guys. So you basically make a little body feint, go in that direction as if you want to take a longer touch. But instead of touching the ball, you're going to step over it and immediately start turning your body. And when your support leg then hits the ground, you can explode off in the other direction. Because if the defender takes the bait, they will put all their weight, go in this direction, making your job a hell of a lot easier. The second move is something we can call the tap, step over, tap, I guess, again. And it's basically a classic tap outside step over move that you can then finish off depending on where the defender goes. Now, I don't know how many defenders would do this, but if you make your tap outside step over and they cover this area, you just push it out with your weak foot like you would normally do. However, if they take the bait, when you throw that body feint, they cover the other area, you can just whoop, make a little cut tap in a 90-degree motion, going that way. Their weight is over here, there's a lot of space over here for you. So it's gonna look like this. Come in, step, whoosh. It's pretty good if you're caught in a tight space with the defender close to you and you want to get out, make some moves, right? So you basically do a V drag back roll it with the sole of your foot, push it out with the inside of your foot behind your standing foot. But instead of just taking a touch out, where Jeff can come in, run in front of you, take the ball, that sucks. Instead, you do the V drag back, then you grab the ball with the sole of your weak foot, and then you roll it back where you came from, stepping over the ball and moving out. And it's particularly nice because not only do you throw potentially a few body feints here, but you also protect the ball at all times from Jeff coming in for a tackle. And if you can do this quickly, Jeff is gonna be in a lot of problems. Whoop, 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 wait. It's really simple, which is great because you don't even have to touch the ball. And if you're like me, that means there's a smaller risk of screwing up. But basically, if you've got a defender close to you and there's a pass coming in, you check your shoulder to see if there's a little bit of space behind you. And then when the pass comes, you make a little pre-run. You just let it roll through your legs, just like that. It's very simple. So little pre-run forward, opens up, ball runs through your legs, you turn around. Hopefully the defender will have made that little step forward when you make your pre-run, and there's not too many people right behind you, so you can turn, get the ball, make some magic. That's it. Let it go. And the final move is something we can call see ya mate, which is brilliant if the defender is running on your side and you want to shake them off. Now here, you can try and do that by throwing a fake, powerful change of direction with a step over on top. But you're not gonna change direction, that's our little secret. See, what you wanna do here is, you wanna run forward, and then you wanna plant your foot, step over the ball, and turn your entire body as if you're going back in that direction. But you're not gonna, because as you then lift your support leg to take the touch back where you came from, you don't touch the ball, but ooh, you push it forward instead, and hopefully there will be a bit of space to run into. Because the defender will have to do two things. A, when you brake very powerfully, they're gonna have to brake as well. And also because you change direction so quickly, they're gonna have to try and catch up, believing, hopefully, that you will go that direction. But as we all know, you're not gonna. See you, mate.
Next, Mahrez also frequently does a variation of the Cruyff turn. Now, a traditional Cruyff turn is where you turn the full 180 degrees, but Mahrez instead more uses it as a 130 degrees chop. Again, this is a fake shot, but instead of striking the ball, you transition into doing a Cruyff turn where you tap the front of the ball with the inside of your foot and almost scoop it backwards behind your standing leg. It's really good if you're close to the defenders because it keeps your leg between them and the ball, thus protecting it a bit more. But it's also a little risky because there will be a split second where you will have to turn and thus won't have full control or protection over the ball. So again, you need to sell the fake shot to fixate the defender, and then it should be easy to set yourself up to create some mayhem. And finally, we have the classic Mahrez chop, which is a fake shot but with a more powerful directional touch at the end. So instead of doing a normal fake shot with a normal touch, you actually almost chop the ball with the instep of your foot to make it change direction very sharply and powerfully. You can also use it to simply stop the ball if you want to buy yourself a bit more time and survey your surroundings. But the little touch chop works wonders to get the ball away from the defender at an angle. And hopefully that will be enough time for you to whip in a cross or score that goal. And if it doesn't, well, you can always do another one right after.
One-footed variation of the Marseille turn that you might also know as the roulette. It's been done by Zidane and Maradona and basically everyone with skills. And it's this classic move where you drag the ball back with one foot, turn your body, and then drag the ball, continue the turn with the other foot. However, if you're like me, I'm only really efficient with the Marseille turn when the defender is to my right, and I can drag the ball back with my right foot, continue with the left. However, if we go to the left, this feels a little bit sketchy, and I'm not gonna try that in a match. So if your left foot is also a little bit, should we say, questionable, the one-footed variation of the Marseille turn is a brilliant alternative where you basically do the same thing, but just do both drags with one foot. Now the way to do this is to, of course, stretch out, get the ball, and then you make a little hop with your support foot while you drag the ball back. You do the same thing, turn your body, little hop again, and complete the move. Now, I really like this because contrary to the normal Marseille turn, where you open up and expose the ball a little bit to the defender at first, here you constantly have a body part between the defender and the ball. So one-footed variation, zack, zack, au revoir. Number two is taken directly out of Sergio Busquets' playbook. His signature move, the V-drag back, where you push the ball out. And it's a really nice move where you basically drag the ball backwards with the sole of your foot, and then you complete the V shape by pushing the ball out again in a 90-degree motion with the inside of the same foot. So you're right, technically, it's a pretty simple move, but the key is to figure out where and when to do it. And what you want here is for the defender to be lured in and come very, very close to you, almost like uncomfortably close, to the point where you would normally pass the ball away. But here, lure them in, let them come close, and then you want to get them off balance. You can do that by taking a little touch to the side, and if they hopefully commit, they got it, right? They're defenders, you just pull out the little Busquets, the drag back, and show them who's boss. So, whoop, ha, ha, bye. Woo! Now lastly, we move into slightly more flashy territory, but it's still a really useful move this if you've got a defender in your back and you want to throw them off balance. Now here, you basically start by rolling or dragging the ball once or twice, then you tap the ball back with your weak foot and tap the ball out again quickly with the same foot that you did the rolls with. because this is really, really useful with all the little changes of direction to get the defender to follow you and hopefully get them off balance. The key here is just to do it quickly, because if you take too many steps in between the touches, I mean, that is not going to fool anyone. So do it quick, throw them off balance like this. Wait. We have the cheeky little drag back Panana, which is a super solid little move if you need to get out of a tight situation where there's a defender close to you rushing in, trying to be a proper jerk and take the ball away from you. I mean, the nerve on this guy, right? Anyways, the way this works is that if Phil is coming in, right, sticking out a foot to try and block the ball, I can just drag the back with my weak foot and just tap it through his legs to get the little Panana. And the way this works is that you don't have to do it with a lot of force or do like super lightning speed quick feed. No, it's all about finding the right timing. So if Phil, you come in again, whoop, whoop, see that? It doesn't have to be harder than that. So basically come in, if you feel his or her presence there, boom, whoop, whoop. It's the sound of the police. Because that was a crime against Phil. I'm sorry, man. We'll start out with a simple but extremely effective move that our guy Will John actually mentioned to me a few years back. He's not really got an official name, I think, so let's call it the Will John Get Past the Defender 3000. Funny, right? Anyways, it's great to actually turn on the defender while protecting the ball, because facing the defender is what you want. That gives you a lot of options. So what you basically do is that with the defender in your back, you use the foot that's furthest away from the defender to step over the ball and then turn your body to face them. They might then think that this is a great option for them to come in and try and steal the ball, but in reality, it's a great option for you to roast them with, for instance, a cheeky little croqueta. So it looks like this. Turn, whoop, see ya. Now another cool move to lose the defender breathing down your neck is to do this 90-degree sole roll turn. And basically what you do is that you take the sole of the foot furthest away from the direction you want to go and just make a quick little turn. And thinking about it, this is actually half a Marseille turn, so it's a bit quicker and really effective. But if you want to roast the defender even harder, you can deep fry, terrible joke, him or her by adding a little directional touch. Because when you do the sole roll and the defender follows, his or her balance is going to be going in that direction with the weight on that foot, meaning that all they can do is watch as you twist and run away in the other direction while they're reenacting Bambi on ice. So if you remember Eden Hazard making Pablo Zabaleta sit down, you know what's coming. Because this move is a great way to shake off the defender without even touching the ball. So if he or she is chasing you and you're running towards the ball, you have the advantage because every time you move, they are going to react. Most likely at least, if they're good defenders. Now here, you're gonna basically throw a couple of little body feints, shoulder drops in either direction, faking that you're gonna go that way. All while you're watching them with the corner of your eye. Because when you can see that they commit, they take the bait and they put their weight on one foot. That's your moment to strike, and you're just gonna take a little touch in the opposite direction. I'm sorry for ruining your life. Second to last move is a bit of a classic and oh so pretty. It's the Mcti Spin done by Mcti, my man. Anyways, that was embarrassing. But what you do here is that you approach the ball and then you step over the ball and stop it with the inside of your foot in the direction you want to go. Now as you do that, you also turn your body so your back is towards the direction you want to go. Then you step over the ball with the other foot and push it away with the outside of that foot. And in motion, it looks like this. Finally, we've got the, sole roll, stop, cut, which is a little bit similar to the second trick in the sense that you make a move in one direction only to cut and move back in the opposite direction. And what you basically do here is that you make a sole roll over the ball, and as you finish the roll, you put your foot down strongly into the ground, which means that the ball will stop and bounce a little bit back in that direction. What's also good about this is that then once your support leg hits the ground, you're basically able to accelerate and change directions quickly in that direction. So if we got the defender behind you, it means that you do this, hop, and then you're off. We start off with Quaresma's little side roll tap away move against Basakci here, which is super effective because basically you're doing two sharp directional changes right after each other. And the defender has got absolutely no chance if you can land this. So the way this works is that if the defender's right in front of you, you can take a little touch forward and then you basically roll the ball with the sole of your strong foot towards your weak foot. Now the second you then put your rolling foot down, you tap the ball away with your weak foot. Of course, body movement needs to be there in order to really fool the defender. But as you can see, I drag Phil over here, he puts his weight there, and boom, I tap the ball away, and I'm out. Next up, we have a move from one of my favorite Portuguese players, Nani. He was pretty good, right? I guess we can call it the roll, step over, tap. Let's call it that. Anyway, it has a lot of similarities with the first skill, but how this works is that if the defender is a little bit in front of you, you're on the wing, you can basically roll the ball forward 45 degrees across your body. Then the second your rolling foot hits the ground, you do an outside step over, fixating the defender, and then you just tap the ball away, beating him or her. It's very easy on paper, you just gotta get the whole movement where you roll, boom, that has to be really quick. So the way this works is bam, 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 la voce. Next up, we've got one of those skills that we had to include it in this video, right? The Ronaldo Chop. It's definitely not a move that you can use anywhere on the pitch or in any situation, but when the situation is there, it's really, really effective to change direction sharply and just leave the defender running. It's only good when you're running at a decent amount of speed, because if you're running here, boom, the defender comes in, you do the chop and say goodbye to the defender. The technique, at least the way I do it, is that you have to plant your strong foot or the chopping foot powerfully in the ground, almost as if you're slicing or chopping through the side of the ball. It sounds a little bit weird, but think of it as you do this little scissor movement where you almost force the ball, boom, that direction. You can do it in many ways, but at least that's the technique I use and I think CR7 uses. But the basic idea is that you come, you run, boom, boom, chop. Then we come to João Felix, who, especially in his younger days, really liked to do the Matthews feint. Now, the Matthews feint is one of the oldest tricks in the book, but also one of the simplest change of direction moves you can find. But it works. Apparently, they also do it in futsal a lot, right? So you know, it works all across the plate. But the way you do this is that, especially if you're an inverted winger, you can do it all over the pitch. Basically, you take one or two touches with the instep of your foot, drop your shoulder a little bit, and hopefully that move, where you're indicating you're going that direction, will fixate the defender's body weight to that side. Now, hopefully they will also try and put out a leg to block your path, leaving the legs open for you to then shift your body weight and get the panna, go that direction. So basically, all you have to do is a little touch or two out here, and then you change your direction. Now, the only important thing to remember is that you shouldn't take a touch and then wait and then make the change of direction. It should be one fluid motion like that. Then just remember to drop the shoulder to sell your move going that direction, and it's gonna look like this. And we end things off with Figo toying with the poor defender in a move that we can call the Figo Special 4000, I guess. Let us know if you have a better name in the comment section right down below. But anyways, if you're being slowed down a little bit on the wing, you're not running at the defender with full speed, you can pull out this bit of trickery where you sell the defender not once, but twice. So what you do here is that if you're approaching them, you can then make this roll, step over to the side, fooling the defender to go that way, then you push the ball backwards, open your body up for a cross, making them commit, and then basically, instead of crossing, you do shove feint, opening up a lot of space for you to run into. And it is a little bit tricky because you have to get the roll right. Rolling it with the sole of your foot, stepping over, take one step, push back, cross, shove feint, and off you go. And if you can land this, you will be the winger god of mischief. Poor defender.
First up, we have what I call the roll step over, which is basically a really cool looking move, but it's also something I would typically advise you to do when you have the defender right in front of you and you need to change direction with a bit of a change of pace as well. So what you do, if the defender is coming towards you, you basically take the ball and roll it a little bit across your body with your foot. And then to make sure that you get the proper acceleration away, you roll the ball and then you step over it with the other foot, basically letting it roll between your legs. Because apart from then, making the trick look really cool, you also change your body direction, and once you step over, you have your other leg solidly planted in the ground in the direction you want to go, so you can really accelerate away. So it looks something like this. Secondly, we have the roll turn, which might seem slightly difficult and a little bit risky at first, but when you get it under your skin, it's actually very effective to turn on the spot while also protecting the ball relatively effectively. See, when you have a defender to either your right or your left, you have your back to him, you then take your strong foot, you roll the ball slightly across your body, and then you take the momentum of the rolling foot, put it in front of the ball, because as you can see right now, I'm shielding the ball pretty effectively against Phil here. If he wants the ball, he has to give a free kick. So when you do the roll, you put your foot down and then you start turning your body. When you do that, you then push the ball away in a 90-degree motion with the toe of the other foot. Now again, it's a bit risky if you let the ball roll too far or you don't protect it well enough with your rolling foot. So go out to the pitch, practice it against the cone so you really get it under your skin until you can take it on the pitch and wreak havoc on a guy like Phil here. My last sole roll that I really like is something we can call the sole roll stop, which is basically something that's kind of hard to learn at first, at least it was tricky for me. But when you land it, it's pretty cool to wrong foot the defender, set him off balance, especially if you're stuck standing still on the sideline. So Phil is blocking my path. I want to go that direction, I can't. So I pull off the side roll stop. Basically, I roll the ball under my foot, I put my foot down, let the ball hit it to either stop it or push it back in that direction. Because when I do this, you can see Phil expects me to go that way, but I go the other direction, buy myself some space to go into. So at speed, it looks something like this. Boom, boom, shake the room. The first skill is something we can call the shield feint roll, which is really useful if you've got a defender in your back or to the side. Today, it's gonna be Phil. Here, you're gonna be shielding the ball with your body. And what you wanna do here is create a little body feint and a roll forward, and then immediately after roll the ball backwards in the other direction with a sole roll. And because you then lost the defender, he's going away, and you got time to do the right thing with the ball. Even if they recover and come back at you, it's gonna be too late. So Phil, come in. So here, we do that. Whip, whip.
Secondly, we have what I guess many people would call the Neymar Chop. And this is really effective because, once again, if you have the defender here, you're gonna fixate their weight going that direction with the roll and then change direction with the chop. Now again, it's important that you do the change of direction with purpose here. So when you make that roll, it needs to be a powerful roll, and then boom. You also need to really plant that chopping foot in the ground, get some distance on the chop to clear you off the defender. And if you can do this in a match, you, my friend, will now be a certified butcher. Next up, we have the L drag, which is super nice if the Which is super nice if the defender is coming, closing you down, running at a bit of speed, especially coming from behind or a bit from the side. Because here, if we take a touch, Phil is coming in, I can just drag the ball back with the sole of my foot and tap it out behind me with the instep of the same foot in this 90-degree angle. So a little bit, boom, boom, that's it. Now, it's really nice because if Phil's running that way, boom, he has momentum going that direction. But if I do the L drag, now my momentum is going that way and Phil is absolutely screwed. Finally, also, you can do the L drag pretty quickly if you just like, boom, snappy little move. And also, if Phil is coming in this way, trying to take the ball, I have my body between him and the ball at all times, meaning that if he wants it, he has to go through me and I will get a free kick. But the thing is, he's not gonna touch me because I'm gone, Phil, I'm gone. Skill number 4 is what we can call the tap inside tap, or basically the reverse croqueta. Now you guys all know La Croqueta, right? You have the defender, you slide the ball across and around them. And this is essentially the same motion, just done in reverse. Now, of course, you're not gonna do it around the defender, but it's really effective if you're running towards the line, you're being closed down, and you can just like hack, hack, go around them like that. So basically here you have to slide the ball quickly with one foot into the other that you angle backwards, again making this 90-degree angle exit. And I know, it's difficult to do, especially if you're running a bit of speed. But if you can land this in a match, you're gonna leave the defender completely hanging. And finally, we have the Mahrez soul roll, which is as effective as it's simple. And Phil, it's very simple. What you're looking at is basically a fake shot with a little directional roll to exit the move. And this is effective because once you do the fake shot, if you do it properly at least, the defender will most likely flinch, leaving you with a lot. Hopefully they won't do that. Then you can't do anything, you're rolling on the ground laughing. Now anyways, if they flinch, it leaves you a lot of open space to just run into, because when they're going like this, they can't really react and follow you that quickly. So you're gonna buy yourself those valuable couple of milliseconds. So basically the move is a fake shot, but instead of stopping your foot, you're just gonna continue the motion naturally on the top of the ball, roll it across the body, a little bit of an angle soul roll to exit the move. And this is more effective than just fake shot down on the ground and then roll. Again, it's about buying yourself that momentum, those little few extra seconds, so you can clear the defender, and then you're gonna score because you're awesome.
Secondly, we have the scoop turn, which is quite cool and somewhat effective if you need to turn on a very tight spot and the defender is pretty close to you. What you basically do here is that you gently almost caress the edge of the ball in this circle-like motion, so you don't kick it, you scoop it round. And you can do some filthy stuff with this. Basically, you start approaching the ball using the back part of your midfoot, you touch it, and then you, in this scooping motion, spin on your weak foot to give a circle-like motion to the ball. Now it's gonna start rotating and you're gonna end up actually touching it with your toes, which is also gonna make it a little bit easier to direct and adjust the angle of the exit of the scoop when the defender comes in. So again, it's important that you don't make two kicks. That's not the same move, but you scoop it. Phil, come in here a bit. So you can either go for the nutmeg. You might not get the nutmeg, but as long as you beat your man, you're gonna be okay. So you're gonna come in, like. The last trick doesn't have a name either, I think, so let's call it the Carrasco Filth 3000, because Yannick Carrasco did Santiago Arias from PSV really, really dirty with this move. Phil, come on in here, you're Arias. Sorry, buddy. Why do you come? Anyways, you're gonna hold off the defender using your arm, then you're gonna roll the ball backwards with the sole of your foot, you turn, and as the defender then lunges in, you tap the ball backwards with your left and out with your right. He's gonna go to the floor, try to stop you, and gonna look ridiculous. Now this is basically, the tap move is basically a croqueta, but with taps instead of that really smooth motion. And I'll be honest, you probably won't have many chances to do this in matches, but when the moment is there, this is total
utter humiliation. And that's what people want, right? But guys and girls, what should we teach you next? As always, let me know in the comment section right down below. Remember that if you want some fresh new speed boots, hit the link to Unisport right over there. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. And well, if you want to improve more as a footballer, the playlist right down there is phenomenal. And with those words, we'll be signing off. Cheerio.